Modest Buzelis seems to be waking up from his November-long slump for the Chicago Bulls, and what could that mean for the Chicago Bulls going forward into the future? It seems like the team is also getting back healthy now that the Chicago Bulls are the closest that they're going to be to full health ever on the season. We got some real questions heading into the 2026, so let's get into all and more, plus the mailbag right after this. What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. I'm the host, Air Hayes, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bear Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content today, y'all. And yeah, let's do it, man. Modest Buzelis. I want to start off talking about Modest Buzelis, right? A lot's been made of him. And you saw all the threads going on and people in the comments. We've had some voicemails here like trade Modest, which are all crazy, right? Like Modest was never going to be a superstar in year two. And I told you guys that, right? Like, now don't get me wrong. I'm still very high on the potential of Modest Buzelis. And I did talk about the potential of what Modest Buzelis can be into. But pump your brakes on that happening when he's 21 years old. Just turned 21 at that, last month, I think. And in year two, we're a team where he's never was going to be the first, second, or third option on this team, right? While Modest Buzelis led the Chicago Bulls in scoring last night with 24 points, tied with Nikola Vucevic, the defense also took several steps for him, and that's what you really want to see. That's where I'm really looking at a step for Modest. I don't think Modest is ever going to be like some elite defender. I just don't think that that's going to happen for Modest Buzelis, and no knock on Modest for that, right? I think, though, when you look at how Modest is, I just don't know if he ever turns into an elite defender. Now, I know a lot of people have started doing the same thing they've done with Patrick Williams. Oh, my God, move him to the three. Everything's going to change when you move him to the three. It's like, did y'all not see this? Like, let the player be who he is. This isn't the 80s. You don't have to be 6'10" to be a power forward. He's 6'9" with a 7-foot wingspan. He's going to be perfectly fine at the power forward position. He does need to get stronger, and I think that's a clear thing there. But I want to highlight this, right? While people are talking so much about Modest Buzelis and his defense lacking, it's actually been he's taken several steps defensively. For example, last season when Modest Buzelis was on the court, teams averaged 2.3 points less per 100 possessions when he was on the court. So far this season, teams are averaging almost 7 points less per 100 possessions when he's on the court. Also, his defensive field goal shooting percentage. Modest Buzelis is holding players that he guards typically to about 2% less than their average shooting. Now, that's not great. That's not elite. That's decent, right? That's just showing you're active defender. When you factor in his block shots as well, right? Those type of things, and the turnover percentage is starting to go up for Modest Buzelis as far as forced turnovers. Modest Buzelis is taking steps defensively. Now, offensively, he's been in huge slumps. It's been rough. After starting off the year for Modest Buzelis, averaging 16 points, 4 rebounds, 1 steal, and 1 block per game, he did that on 49% shooting from the field and 34% from three. Those numbers dropped all the way down to 12 points per game in the month of November with 6 rebounds that he was averaging. Good, the rebounds went up, and 1.5 blocks per game. He shot 44% shooting from the field and 34% shooting from three-point line. So, the numbers took a step back. The efficiencies took a step back. And for those that actually watched the games, it was more than that. Modest was benched in some key moments. There were some times where Modest got in foul trouble. In some key moments, it wasn't out there. So those things were definitely struggles for him, right? But also, you got to look at how he's getting his shots. In the month of November, the slump for Modest, over 44%, almost 45% of his shots were three-pointers, right? And his average shot distance from the rim was about 13 feet from the basket, right? That's not terrible for a power forward to be 13 feet away from the basket, but for a player like Modest, who he's either at the rim or he's at the three-point line, he doesn't really take mid-range shots. That's part of the whatever Billy Donovan's working out of his game for some reason. That's a story for another day. We'll talk about that at some point down the line here, right? But for that, you got to look at that and say, all right, Modest, what's going on here, right? Now, so far, small sample size in the month of December so far, 8 games, right? So not the hugest sample size, but so far in the 8 games, he's cut off 5% from the three-point attempt. So he's down to almost 39% from at 3-point attempts from the 3-point line. So that's good. That's the percentage of his shots, not the percentage he's shooting. That's only 34% of his shots are coming from the 3-point line right now, which is really good. He's better recognizing when he doesn't have a shot, get his ass to the rim, right? He's taking his shots also almost a foot and a half closer, which so you were already 13 feet. You're almost now down to 11 and a half feet as far as away from the bucket. That shows that he's cutting more. He's moving more off the ball. Those type of things are happening for the month of December. Now, he's only had one game of 20 points or more. That was yesterday's game, right? Outside of that, he had the 2 9-point games. The first 9-point game against the Cleveland Cavaliers, I think if you watch that game, you see that Modest had some really good defensive moments where he switched defensively, those type of things. It wasn't the best, right? And last night, he took another step defensively as well. He got switched on to Darius Garland and was able to stay with him for a couple of links. So that's really good, right? So far through the month of December, I was actually wrong. He has 2 20-point games, 1 19-point games, only two games shooting in scoring in single digits. So it's starting to come around for him, right? So, in the month of December, those numbers that he's shooting, 15 points per game, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 1.3 blocks, 1.3 steals. He's shooting 52% from the field, and his 3 ball's not falling. He's shooting 22.9% from 3 in the month of December. We only have a couple of more games left in the month of December. So far, he's taking the steps in the right direction and starting to realize. Also, the minutes have gone up. He's played over 30 minutes in just about every game except 3, I think, in the month of December so far. So he's up to 28.8 minutes per game because he's starting to play better and he's starting to get trusted a little bit better. That's higher than even what he was averaging in December as far as minutes per game because he's impacting the game in more places, and that's what you like to see. The shot attempts are going down. He's down at 10.6, but the efficiency is going up, so the impact is greater. That's how he's getting to that 15 points per game. So Modest still has a long way to go. I want to be clear. In no way am I saying, hey, chill out. Modest is about to be that star you guys wanted him to be. Not saying that at all. He still has a long way to go, but that potential that's always there for Modest Buzelis is still there. And I think that some Bulls fans have lost that and kind of forgot about that a little bit at times because of just their own kind of, what they wanted to see Modest Buzelis do. Sometimes there were some inconsistent expectations there when it comes down to it. So taking away from all the stats in the world, right? I know I threw just a lot of numbers at you. Taking away from the stats, it seemed like Modest's confidence has slowly started coming back. And with that, his minutes have started going back up as well. If that holds true for the remainder of December, much like this Bulls team overall, it's going to be fun to watch where Modest is in the month of January, how he finishes this season. Now, it still can be very inconsistent. That's how the sophomore slump works. Sometimes he's going to look good. Sometimes he's going to look bad. It is what it is there, right? But I think that we need to acknowledge, because I definitely killed Modest Buzelis' first play a little bit of time, is that Modest seems to be coming out of it. And the key part of it is that swag. And I don't even like using that word, but that vibe that Modest Buzelis has as a player has coming back. And I think that's where you're going to see the best version of Modest. Modest was one of the only Bulls cutting. When the Bulls are out to 11-point deficit yesterday, Modest was the one that put us on the scoreboard with his activity, getting fouls, those type of things. And that's what you want to see from Modest. If he can continue to do that part of the game, I think things will look a bit better for Modest Buzelis. Again, still not expecting him to hit that crazy leap that people talked about him hitting this season, but his free throw attempts are up almost a whole attempt and a half per game, and that's because of the activity. Keep getting active, young fella, and I think the game's going to get easier for you. And just stop settling for so many threes. So we'll see what Modest does. But that leads me to my next conversation, right? I want to talk about this Bulls team and the expectations for them coming into the season, right? Oh, we're not into the season, but into the rest of the year. The Bulls, last night's game was the first time the Bulls were fully healthy for the entire season. Right now, every Bull was healthy except Noa Essengue. So our full rotation we got to look at yesterday, again, except Noa Essengue, but then again, we knew that Noa Essengue was not going to be getting heavy minutes on this team regardless, right? So that's what you like to see. And even with that, I would assume was still on a minutes restriction and only played 14 minutes, so that those minutes are going to go up from him. But with the Bulls getting healthier, we're starting to see, on top of the effort being there again, this team is starting to get back towards, looking kind of like the team we started off with. Now, nobody's going to believe that until they do it consistently. And I can't blame anybody who doesn't believe that, because you need to see it consistently, right? But like, we had 3 players scoring double figures off the bench, and Trey Jones, Kevin Huerter, and Zach Collins. You add an Io to that when he's back fully healthy, you can see that. Now, the minutes were a little bit more wonky, right? You had P. Will only play 5 minutes. You think if Io DeSumu's fully healthy, do you not see P. Will at all, right? Because Io's going to get about 22 to 25-ish minutes, right? So you got to look at that. Isaac Okoro only played 20 minutes in that starting lineup. So, you're already cutting into that a little bit. But for a lot of Bulls fans, They were still holding on to that. This team's not fully healthy. This team is going to get right back. They could be right back competing to be 500 or better once they're fully healthy. I haven't said that because to me, effort has been a big thing of that, seeing these players, because we weren't fully healthy when we were beating playoff teams and starting off 5-0, right? But, there's a lot of that. There's 6 games left in the month of December, right? The Bulls right now sit at 3 games below 500. They're 3 games below 500. So with 6 games left, this team could be at 500 or slightly below, slightly above, wherever the season starts. And that would mean they would have to win a big chunk of their remaining games. And not that I necessarily expect that. I would love to see it. I'm just not going to put that expectation on the team. The Bulls have 2 games against Atlanta, 1 game against Philly, a game against Milwaukee, and a game against Minnesota and New Orleans remaining on their season. New Orleans has owned us the entirety of the season, so we got to see what's going to happen there. Atlanta, they're playing good. They did have a tough loss last night. Trae Young came back to him a game ago, and he only scored 9 points. He's not playing back-to-back, so we'll see if he plays on Sunday. He should. We don't know if he's going to play on Tuesday. There's a day between that, so we'll see what happens there. But this isn't an easy schedule for the Bulls, right? But if the Bulls really do want to make this a point of we're back healthy, we're back on, they have an opportunity here to start getting more wins and then head into the new year of 2026 close to 500 or at 500, or maybe somehow they get 1 game above. We'll see what happens with that one, right? And if they can do that, I don't know how much that changes of people's perception for the team, but it should change their mindset. Because if you go into the season, let's say you're 1 game below 500. Let's just go on the let's just say that's the best you can get. Or 2 games below 500, right? You head into the new year of 2026, and you have an opportunity to start a new season. I'm not going to call it a restart. I've given the Bulls too many opportunities to restart, but they're going to have to go out and prove it, right? It's possible. It doesn't mean that I necessarily think it's going to happen, but it is possible for this team, right? The Bulls have the 8th hardest schedule remaining in the NBA. That's it. So for those that believe that the Bulls play down to their level of competition, well, guess what? The competition's about to be up. So is their play going to be up? We'll see. And if it is, cool, you've proven it then at that point, right? So because they did not take advantage of the easy part of their schedule, right? They had so many games, the easiest schedule in the NBA, after having the most difficult start of the season to the NBA. They had a golden opportunity to stack wins against the bad teams around the NBA. Instead, they emerged from that as one of the bad teams themselves, right? So now you have to take a look at, all right, now the schedule's getting harder. And like I said, there are a lot of Bulls fans that believe the Bulls are just playing down the competition. All right, cool. I'm going to give you that for the nature of this conversation. So let's say that the Bulls were playing down the competition, and that's it. The competition's about to be up. You got the 8th hardest schedule remaining in the NBA. So if you're not going to be playing down the competition, this is your time to play up. It's up and it's stuck. Let's see if it sticks, right? And at the end of the day, you're getting healthier. You have all this now. All that's behind you. Hopefully it stays behind you. We'll see, right? Of course, you're going to have some dings. You're going to have players that miss games. And now it becomes about, what do you show us? Because at this point, you have to show it and sustain it for me personally to believe in. I'm not going to speak for all Bulls fans, but for me to personally believe in it. So let's see what the Bulls can do. I don't want to call it a new season. An opportunity has now presented the Chicago Bulls. You're fully healthy. Let's see what you go out there and do. And if you were just playing down to the level of competition, those opportunities really aren't going to be here with you for much longer. Now, the Bulls schedule does ease up again towards the end of January is where it gets easier again. That's where you have games against Utah, Brooklyn, Los Angeles. The Clippers in that stretch as well. And it picks right back up at the beginning of February again, right? So, we'll see what the Bulls do with it. And, if they prove it, they prove it. If they don't, they don't. Just is what it is at this point. But let me know what you guys think on all that down below. Minus Buzelis kind of getting back to what he was at the beginning of the season. The Bulls getting healthy now and what that means for them going forward. Let me know what you guys think on that down below. With that said, we got some voicemails we need to get into. It is Saturday. That means it is mailbag day. Let's get into these voicemails, man. This one's from Soul.
What's good, Hayes? This your boy Soul giving you a call. I'm just pretty much, man, I'm tired of this team a little bit. What I mean is this right here. You've been preaching I've been watching you for about 3-4 years, maybe. And when you've been saying, well, the back doors, the cuts, the this and that the team doesn't do, we got a very small sample size. And you probably been teaching it longer, but like I said, I've been watching for maybe about 5 years. I don't remember. But we got a small sample size of that. and when they did it, we was good. But now the team doesn't really play with heart. And that is something that pisses us off as fans. Like you said, we could take a team that loses, but when you go out there and you give no effort and no heart, that's the part that discourages you. So with the record and the stuff that we got, as a Bulls fan, I'm mad, but I'm not mad because I don't trust AK to do anything but keep the books right. I don't trust AK when it comes to trades. I don't trust AK when it comes to drafting. I have never seen nobody jack first round picks like him. I'm gonna just be honest with you. Maybe I could be wrong. I could possibly be wrong, but I just don't trust AK. I think AK does better with second rounds and undrafted people, and it's sad. You get fourth picks, seven picks, you know what I'm saying, stuff like that, and you can't draft. I don't trust him when it comes to that at all. But the only thing I do trust him to do, he gonna keep the books right. Make sure we don't touch the luxury. We know we're in the aprons and stuff like. He know how to do that. He know how to duck when it comes time. Like, hey, to show up at the end and give that same sorry speech. He know how to do that. So when it comes to us and our record and this losing, even though it pisses me off, because we are the team who we are, we're never going to tank. So I guess this got to happen naturally. It's sad to say, but it looks like that's where we at right now. You know, the way Monis was talking at the beginning of the year, IO can help you and give you an idea what that second year slump is, but he got hit upside his mouth to see what the slump is, what it really, really is. Yes, he improved a little bit, but to see the way he was talking about how he's going to be this defense in minutes, put in the work to really do it.
So when you say that the stretch, like there were GMs that had worse stretch. Go and look at the Charlotte Hornets draft history, and then go and look at the players that were taking ones like below where they picked. Hornets missed a chance to build an all-time great team with some of their missed picks. But all that aside, right? It is hard to trust AK. And I can't blame anybody for says that it's hard to trust this front office because, it is what it is. Like AK's record is what it is as a GM, much like Billy Donovan's is as a coach. Now you say first round, he has had a lot of late first round picks because the Bulls were competing, right? So Dalen was a late first round pick. And then you got P. Will, who was an early pick. He missed on that one. And then other than that, it's modest, right? Like, because Julian was a second-round pick. Noa Essengue, of course, but he hasn't played yet. So I'm not going to make the determination there. But, we'll see. We'll see what he does. And, modest is a good pick. Let's see if Noah ends up being a good pick for the Chicago Bulls, and we're going to see what's going to happen there, right? But overall, I agree with you. It's hard to trust AK because he hasn't earned it. And so now he's going to have to earn it, right? Now, as far as the team and effort, the team is seeming to get back to the effort that they played with before. And I say seem because I need to see more of it before I believe it, right? The question isn't can they play with the effort. The question is can they keep that effort up? And that's where we have some of the biggest doubt about the Chicago Bulls team. And we'll see. Like for the majority of the season, that 5-game stretch to 6-1, let's say the first 7 games, that was the first part of the season. Like for well over a month and a half, the Bulls have been struggling. So now they got to go out and prove that they can come out of that. They got to prove that they can be more consistent with it. And if they are, then the proof's in the pudding. It's about what they prove, what they show, and we'll see what the Bulls do for that, right? But again, I can't blame you, Saul, and we'll see what the Bulls do. All right, let's get into this next one, man. This one's from my brother Corn.
What's the good word, King Drip? It's your brother Corn. I know it's been a while. I've been sitting here thinking, looking, thinking, compartmentalizing this Chicago Bulls team. For some reason, I still believe in this team. For some reason, I still think that we could do something before the All-Star break and really come and gel together. I believe now that we're getting healthy and we're starting to play more together. Is we going to have bad games? Yes. Is we going to have games with this team that we're just going to be like, Yes. At the end of the day, this is what I ain't gonna say y'all. I'm not gonna say the Bulls Nation. I'm just speaking for me as a Bulls fan. This is what I signed up for. I wanted this young core. I wanted this young squad. So I already knew it was gonna be times like this. Now, was it gonna be actually rough times to the point that shit, we went 4-14 of our last 18 games? Fuck no. Of course not. Some of that shit is unacceptable. Some of them losses was unacceptable. But that's the part of us still being young. See, we still got to learn not to play down. And now we play up the competition. It's been this way now for the past 2 years with this damn team. I get it. I understand it. We want to make the big trade. We want to get AD. We want to get Giannis. We want to get Zion, even Ja Morant, right? Whoever the fuck we can get, right? No. Let's stick with this. Let's watch this. Even Modest is having a bad stretch right now. And y'all know I assumed that Modest was going to take a leap. He hasn't took that leap. But you know what? He's still taking on the challenge. He's still trying to understand what it's going to take. And like I said, it is going to be a fucking marathon. These guys are young, man. They are young. So this is what I signed up for when I knew I wanted a young Bulls team. When I knew I didn't want Zach, DeMar, Vooch running this squad anymore. I knew that we're going to have times like this. So the word that I know all of us Bulls fans hate to say, let's just be patient and let's try to trust this fucking process and enjoy it at the same time. Peace, blessings.
You're right. Some of the struggles do come with being a young team. And you hit the nail on the head there, right? It comes, and I think people do forget because you saw like players like Vooch on this team. This is a very young team. But I will say this. This team came into the season with the goal of competing, with the goal of making the playoffs. That was your goal. So you get to be held to that goal, and they're not living up to that, right? So I get what you're saying. As you pointed out, this was a thing even when the team wasn't young, right? Which should be even more concerning. It's systemic at that point because the playing down and up to competition has literally been a thing since DeMar, Vooch, Zach, all those guys, Caruso, all those guys were here, and that was an older team at that time. So then you got to start looking at what is culturally going on in your franchise to cause you to feel like it's okay to take your foot off the gas. And, that's a question in the story for another day, right? Modest is starting to come out of it, as you pointed out, but this is a young team. And, yes, some of those struggles do come with youth, but I will say this as well. AK built a roster with youth, but experience. So, you got to look at that too, but it seems like these players are starting to get frustrated by losing games. That's what you want to see because that's going to tell me what pressure either makes diamonds or burst pipes. Which one are you? And we'll see what happens with that one. So, overall, I'll say this with this team. They still have enough in the season left to turn this around. I'm not going to believe in it until I see effort coming back. But here's the thing. Even if it does, let's say that this season does end on the Bulls miss the play-in. Let's just say that happens. Then you get a lottery pick. And at that point, in this deep draft, go out there and get it done. And you get even younger at that point. So, we'll see what happens. They're in a win-win situation. Not for us fans, it's going to suck, but win-win in the sense that if this season does end up just sucking overall, then you get a high pick in a deep draft, and you get another opportunity to add to this core and to get another young player in here that can change the dynamic of this team. If they turn it around, then we get to talk about wins, and we get to see a team that is fighting and competing. We win-win. The team can win-win in their direction. It's just going to suck to see this team lose if that's the case. But shout out to Corn on that one, man. Let's get into the last voicemail for today. This one's from Arthur.
What's the deal, Hayes? It's R-Dub here. Yo, I was just recently listening to some other Bulls podcast. I forgot who it was, but I remember hearing that pretty much as far as Bulls players that's gaining interest from the rest of the league, that Trey Jones was pretty much lead, and he's gaining the most interest. Now, I know for sure he's been kind of doing this thing on the defensive end with the steals that he's been racking up. Like, it's kind of amazing that he's doing this. And for a player his size doing this, that's even more amazing. So what I wanted to know is, the fact that Trey Jones is possibly the most intriguing player when it comes to trades in the NBA, does that mean that we've been overvaluing Vooch and Kobe? Seeing how they both kind of had a slide in both of their, percentages. Well, when it comes to Kobe, only in 3-point shooting, but Vooch has kind of really been on the slide since the beginning of the season. So what I want to know is, do you feel as if we have been overvaluing players? And do you think that we're actually getting calls? Let me know what you think.
Yes, we talked about that report over on Locked On Bulls as well. Trey Jones has been reported as a team that has a ton of interest around the league. Now, I don't think that means anything for Vooch or Kobe. I think when you look at Trey and the reason why teams would be more interested in him than other players on the Bulls roster, one, contract. An $8 million contract that has 2 more years after this season on it that doesn't rise. It's a flat $8 million each year, right? So even with Io being on a really reasonable contract, the problem is Io's a free agent at the end of the year, and you're going to have to pay him. So teams around the league that are trying to add him to a team that maybe is already at the luxury tax or whatever else, you don't have to worry about that salary rising, and it's not a huge salary. So I think that's why. And also, at the minimum, he's a bench depth piece for you, and depending on your starting lineup and what you need in that starting lineup, he can be a starter for a team. So I think those are the reasons why you see and hear that Trey Jones may have the highest interest in the league leading into the trade deadline, the size of the contract, the value of the player himself, and the fact that, unlike some of the other players on the Bulls roster, he's not expiring. He's locked into a flat contract for the next 3 seasons. Well, the remainder of this season, 2 seasons after that. And that last year is a team option as well. So all those things factoring in, that's why you see teams hugely interested in Trey Jones. And, we'll see if the Bulls end up trading him. If they do start turning this around and winning, they're not trading anybody. But, we'll see what happens with Trey. I love Trey on this team, but like I said over on Locked On Bulls, if you've gotten to the point where Trey is untouchable, you are in a very bad place in your team. And that's no knock on Trey. I love Trey. I love Trey as a player. But if a team comes calling with an opportunity, I think you have to do what you missed on Drum and Lonzo and some of those players. Take the pick. Get the young player. Stack that asset. Get you another bite at the apple, because had the Bulls traded Lonzo for the first-round pick that they got offered, we could have had Cedric Coward on this team right now as our starting 3. Just saying. So, we'll see what happens there. But overall, that's my time for today, guys. I appreciate you guys so much for tuning in. Is Miles Buzelis' confidence really back? Let me hear from you guys on that one. January could get very interesting for the Chicago Bulls team as well. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell as well if you don't want to miss a thing at any time we post. You guys can follow us at Bulls Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. bullscentralpod@gmail.com. And lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We are the #1 spot for everything Chicago Bulls related, and that's thanks to you, lovely and beautiful people. And like I like to end every episode on, go Bulls. Love you guys. See red if you can, y'all. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.